Hey folks, it's story time. So, in the series of being an outdoorsman and being prepared, um, possibly today I'm going to make a video about vehicles and then I'm going to show some of my weapon selection. So, you have to understand I'm a single dad. Um, life happens, right? We all have a story. But my theology has always been how can I afford the most on the cheap? Okay, so I've always been real conscious with my money, and I don't have the funding for I'm not one of those guys with the deep pockets that, oh hey, I'm taking the summer off and traveling to Alaska. you know I've never been one of those guys. I hunt public land. Okay, I mean, as a kid I grew up on a farm, and a couple friends had farms. But as life changes and the economy's changed, I've lost all the access to the private land, except for a little honey hole. I got 55 acres that I help maintain for a guy, and that's where some of the camping videos are from. But when you have your own land, it's like a refuge. I've never really hunted my own land for any big game because it's more enjoyable to watch them and know that they're there and to learn from them. So, all of my hunting trips, for big game, elk, deer, turkey, whatever, has all been public land, either national forest or state wildlife, state game lands. So, in the story time, I wanted to talk about my weapon selection. And, everybody's funny about weapons, so I'm not going to show any. You can look them up. But probably one of my favorite companies and that make a high quality product that has served me quite well is Savage. Um, I really liked Marlin and H&R. Uh, I got a Marlin 22 Magnum for my birth or for my graduation, and I carried that around the country and absolutely loved that rifle. Um, you know, life happens, divorce happens. I ended up selling all of my firearms, and I'm slowly starting over. My dad passed a few years back, and I had my Marlin 22 Magnum. He wanted a 22 Magnum. Um, I bought him a Savage, and it was just as accurate out of the box as my Marlin was, after years of being broke in. So, phenomenal rifle. Several years ago, probably 15 years ago, I bought a Savage Mark II in the 17. The 22 neck down to 17, not the 22 Magnum, not a 17 HMR, but the little 17. It was a 22. That thing was fun, and it was so accurate. In big rifles, probably one of my first big boy purchases after the military was a Savage 110 Tactical in 300 Win Mag. Phenomenal. Amazingly accurate. I played around with some hand loads, shooting a 110 grain Sierra Varmiter, I was making crows explode at 500 yards. That was fun. Another time, I was a member of a rifle range in Colorado, had a 1,000-yard pit. And some of the guys there had money. They were from Denver. And the one guy was always running his mouth, about how his money could buy the best there was and nobody could beat him. So we made a bet. I went to the gun show, picked up a Savage 110 in 30-06. I did the trigger job myself, and this was long before AccuTriggers. And I glass bedded it with some Brownells AccuGlass, and we had 40 rounds. We started at the 200-yard berm, and you had to get 3 in the bull to move back. He ran out of ammo at the 700. I got my 3 in the bull at 800, but I ran out of ammo. This was a $300 rifle back in the 90s, and at the time he had a $2,500 custom rifle. So, taking Savage to the table and kicking somebody's ass with what they thought was 10 times the gun, I have a lot to say about Savage. For shotguns, I've always used H&R. I had to sell all mine, so I'm saving up to get one of the new Savage Stevens single shots. I did inherit an old Savage Stevens single shot in 16 gauge, which 16 gauge, you can't find ammo. When you could, when I was a kid, I'd stocked up on it. So I have enough rounds for probably the next 5 years of pheasant season. So that's all I use it for. So I'd like to get a 20 gauge Savage, for turkey and squirrel and whatnot. But their new ones, since H&R is no longer in business, it's very similar to an H&R, only it has a safety. So I'm quite impressed. And I like how they just have a little click button that'll remove the forend. So now it'll break apart and I can wrap it up and put it in my pack, in my camping, hunting, camping get home bag. So I think I'm going to definitely I'm going to get one of those shotguns. And I'm also going to save up and buy another 110. I can't knock the Axis, but I really like the 110. So I think that's going to be the top of my list. And that'll be my big game rifle. So I'm still debating on 308 or 300 Win Mag. On the budget friendly, when you make a purchase like that, you want the most bang for your buck. Pun intended. But in the reloading, I think having a 300 Win, I can always download, and it'll do anything a 308 will do, and it's easier on your shoulder. And I can always upload, and use the 300 Win's full potential for, moose or grizzly or Kodiak bear or something if I'm ever afforded that opportunity. And I've had a few 300 Wins. One was a custom Mauser on an FN action. Absolutely loved that rifle. Loved it. And like I said, that Savage 110 Tactical, well before the AccuTrigger and all the fancy stocks started coming out for the shooting world. That was an amazing rifle. So, looking at everything, reevaluating my situation, I'm definitely going to invest in Savage. Like I said, I inherited that Magnum. I just purchased a Mark II 22. That'll be my squirrel rifle. So, if the weather wasn't so shitty, I'd actually be out shooting it right now. But I'm very excited. And it's almost like an epiphany and that joyous moment coming home to my roots. Because I pretty much started with Savage. And I can't brag enough about them. And understand, I'm doing this for me. You know, there's no sponsorship. I'm not getting any royalties or kickbacks or sponsorships. Fuck, I'll be lucky if they send me free stickers. So, this is my opinion, and I'm just passing along what works. So, I've been working a lot. Life's been kind of crazy with the kids. So that's why I haven't put out any other actual videos lately. But I'm going to work on that. So, I hope everybody has a great day.